My name is Joe, by the way, Joe Plumbo. I'm a registered massage therapist here, and I just want to let everyone know here that I am not a farmer. I just, yeah, thank you. I just like to plant a garden, because to plant a garden is to believe in the tomorrow. And Audrey Hepburn was somebody that I admired when I was a kid, growing up watching her movies. And when she said this, it kind of hit home for me. Another great quote that we have that I've heard lately is, to plant a garden is like printing your own money, because as Amanda said, like, organic produce can be expensive, and when you consider the cost of a package of seeds, tomato seeds, organic heirloom tomato seeds cost $3, and there's 300 of them in there. So does it really make sense that a bunch of tomatoes that grows on one plant is going to cost you $7 when the seed costs you less than a cent? You know, so that's where I'm looking at it from this point. So, Gardening 101. A couple of the questions that most people have when they want to grow a garden, or they're considering growing a garden, is, why do I want to grow my own food when I can buy it at the grocery store? Well, my whole take on that is that I have no idea where that food was grown, what was sprayed on it, and what's the nutrient density of that food. The average travel time of a piece of produce is about 2 weeks. A piece of broccoli that was picked in Southern California takes 2 weeks to get here by a truck. So by the time it gets here, it's green, it's beautiful, it looks great, but it's nutritionally dead because it was picked way before its prime and it was ripened on the truck on the way here. Another reason why to grow your own food is, A, the soil that it's grown in is basically stripped of all nutrients. So they have to add chemical fertilizers to it, which is petroleum based. Not many people know that most pesticides, fertilizers, and what have you are derived from leftover from the petroleum business. I don't know about you, but I don't want to eat gasoline. That's the way I look at it. There's some common questions when you want to start a garden. Do I have to have a green thumb? Not really. If you just like digging in the dirt and planting seeds and watching things grow, that's all you really need to do. Is it a lot of work? All depends on how you look at it. Like, you know, for me, I can spend hours out in the garden. I don't really care, because I love digging in the dirt and planting something to see if it grows. Is it expensive? Not really. Like I said, seeds cost next to nothing. Does it take time? Yeah, it takes time. You got to plant the seed and watch it grow, make sure that it's germinating. It's quite frustrating. Right now, I start all of my plants from seed myself, from my own stock, and from a really reputable producer of seeds. The problem I'm having is that they're not germinating. And that's nature. There's nothing I can do about it. So what do? You plant more seeds. And then what happens is the ones that you planted first decide to germinate. So now I've got 22 eggplant. What the heck am I going to do with them all? Plant them. Watch them grow, right? So what are the different types of gardening? Well, there's earth gardens, or dirt gardens, like I like to say. And to plant a dirt garden, there's some things that you need to do. So what you need to do first is find out the path of the sun. Where is the sun going? Where is this garden going to be so it gets maximum exposure? Most gardens need between 10 and 15 hours of sunlight. I'm very fortunate. I have no trees in my yard, so my garden gets sun from 5 o'clock in the morning until it sets. So that's really good. How do I start? I always tell people who ask me for gardening advice, what's the soil like? You know, you can't expect to grow tomatoes if you plant in sand. It's really comes down to this right here. This is the big one. Quality versus quantity. If you've got a large plot of land that's clay, you're not going to grow nothing. So what you need to do is you need to put organic material in there. Composting is free money. You just take your kitchen scraps and let worms take care of it, right? I have three composters. My wife is very angry with me because there's barrels all over the yard, but oh well, such is life. It's my garden. Equipment. What equipment do you need? Hand versus power tools. I use both. I have a 10 horsepower rototiller that I absolutely love using. I also have hand tools. Depending on how big your garden is, what you want to do with it, how much do you want to grow, will determine what you use between either hand or power. Seeds. Where do you get your seeds? Are they organic? Are they heirloom? Are they your own stock? The common question that I get is, what's the difference between heirloom and conventional seeds? My understanding and what I've been told is that an heirloom seed or an heirloom plant, my passion is tomatoes and garlic, so I have a lot of heirloom tomatoes that are either determinate or indeterminate. What indeterminate and determinate are is that an indeterminate grows on a vine. It grows between 6 and 12 feet long, and it continues to produce. No matter how many times or how many tomatoes you pull off that plant, it'll continue to produce. I had one tomato plant that grew 12 feet long on a vine, and it produced almost 300 tomatoes off of one seed. So again, that goes back to the first slide. Is it expensive? When you factor in all these things, I don't think so. And also, an heirloom seed can be traced, the lineage of that seed can be traced back to the original plant. One of my tomato plants is called Deutscher Fleiss, which grows on a 6-foot vine, and each tomato weighs between 2 and 5 pounds. They're huge, they're about this big, and they were first cultivated in Germany in the 1880s. So the tomato that I pull off of that plant is exactly the same as the tomato back in the 1800s. That's the difference. A hybrid plant is something that has been cross-pollinated and it creates its own thing. The difference between hybridization and GMO is like night and day. Does everybody know what GMOs are? Okay, for those who don't know, GMOs are when they take the DNA of one species and forcefully inject it into the DNA of another species that never would mate. So, for example, one of the things on the Dirty Dozen is strawberries. Majority of the strawberries that are available in today's market are spliced with frog DNA or fish DNA. So if somebody who is got a fish allergy eats a strawberry that is genetically modified, they're going to have an allergic reaction, not to the strawberry, but to the fish DNA or the frog DNA that's in that strawberry.
Can I jump in with another example?
Yes.
Yeah, so corn is a big hot topic for genetically modified products right now. And what the genetically modified corn is, it's called Bt toxin corn, or Bt corn. So the corn has been genetically modified, so they insert a gene into every single cell of the corn, and it produces its own pesticide. So the corn is literally secreting its own pesticide. So when bugs take a bite out of the corn, they get killed. Now, the way that pesticide it's innately producing works is it actually puts holes in the intestines of the bugs. So you get this cottage cheese effect of the intestines, which allows all of the bacteria in their intestines of this bug to then circulate into the entire body, and it promptly kills the bug. Now, they're finding that this exact same thing is happening in humans. So the companies who made this genetically modified corn swore up and down that the pesticide would be killed in our stomach, and it is being found in the cord blood of pregnant women, which means it is getting into newborns. So it is absolutely passing through our stomach and into our body, likely causing perforations in our own intestine and allowing bacteria that's supposed to stay in our gut travel through the rest of our body. So this is what was happening with genetically modified corn.
Thank you. And the next topic is space. This is a touchy subject for anybody who wants to grow a garden that does not have the space. That's a common thing that I hear all the time. Yeah, well, you're lucky, you have a big yard. Well, not really. I don't have a big yard. I got a big garden, but I don't have a big yard. And the reason why I have such a big garden is because I know specifically what I want to grow and what we as a family eat. I'm Italian, so I grow lots of tomatoes and lots of garlic. But even if you don't have the space, there is a way that you can grow in the limited space that you have. Can we grow gardens indoors? Absolutely. I've been growing my vegetables since before Christmas. I have an indoor greenhouse that I grow all of my food. But if this is an option for you, you have to ask yourself the same kind of questions. Like, where do I start? What do I do? First, you have to identify how far you're going to take this, because if anybody who has garden knows, like, you can get pretty freaking carried away. Like, ask my wife what happened to our little 4x8 garden that's now 22 by 40. You know, it expands and keeps growing and growing and growing. So that's the first thing I would say that you need to do. You need to know why you want to grow, or what you want to grow, and why and how much you want to grow. The equipment, you're going to need lighting. If you're going to grow indoors, you're definitely going to need lighting. I tried growing without lights, and all of my plants were very spindly, very long. And it really wasn't that good. And you can tell, you can taste the difference between something that has been grown in the right conditions as opposed to something that's not. Do you need pots? Probably. You need water? Yeah, lots. As we all know, gardens take up an incredible amount of water, less than what you would use to water a lawn, and creates less greenhouse gases. Space, again, yes, you need space. Limited, yes. Not limited, sure, okay. But we have options for that. What I use, and I'm pretty proud of this, is this thing right here. It's called a tower garden. And what the tower garden is a self-contained, soilless grow system. It's aeroponic, it's hydroponic. It uses 10% of the water of a regular garden, and it produces about 30% more than a regular 4x8 garden. The growth time is cut by 1/3. You can plant a seed in it today, and in 4 weeks you'll be harvesting, which is unheard of in a dirt garden. What this was designed after was the land exhibit at Epcot Center in Florida. They have 24 acres of conventional grow towers that grows the entire food for the entire park. So the creator of that decided to take that technology and scale it down for in-home use. And this is what came up. The water is held in here. This held 78 liters of water. There's a pump in there, which is right here, that pumps the water up the center chamber, and then it rains down on the roots. The roots are encased in here, which is UVA, UVB protected. It also has space enough for the air to get through. That's another thing that people ask me, well, doesn't a plant need soil to grow? Not necessarily. What soil does, it's a medium to hold up the roots. That's it. If you've ever had green onions and you cut the bottoms off and you take the ones with the roots and you stick that in a cup of water, that thing's going to grow again. It doesn't need soil. All it needs is water. So what a plant really needs to grow is it needs water, it needs nutrients, and it needs air. If it gets all three of those in a timely fashion, it'll grow really fast. The reason why a dirt garden plant takes longer to mature is because it can't get to the air. That's why if you've ever pulled up a tomato plant, the roots stretch across the top of the soil. That's why you got to plant so far apart, because the roots will get tangled. This takes everything out of it. It's a true plug and go system. You plug it into the wall, you turn it on, and that's all you got to do. So again, what is Tower Garden? Tower Garden has no soil, therefore there's no weeds, there's no pests, there's no disease. I don't know about you, but I freaking hate weeding. I can't stand it. It's self-watering. It leaves a small footprint. It uses about the same electricity per month as a 60-watt light bulb. It uses 10% of the water as a normal garden, like I said, and it grows in 1/3 of the time, and it produces about 30 to 40% more than a typical 4x8 garden. And you can grow anything that grows above the ground. You can't grow any root vegetables in it, but you can grow basil the size of my hand, one leaf. It's incredible. And this next slide will show you the typical growth cycle in a 4-week span in 27 seconds. This is not my garden.
4 weeks.
Now, the great thing about growing hydroponically and aeroponically, like I said, there's no soil, there's no weeds, there's no pests at all. But for example, if I wanted to, I could take this chard, I can go up and I can pull it out of the unit, and I can give it to Amanda that puts it in a bag, and she can take that home, and it'll grow on her counter for as long as there's water in there. All she has to do is just keep pulling off the leaves on the outside, and it'll continue to grow. It's live, and it remains live until the roots are cut. That's the beauty of it. And I'm going to pass over the rest to Amanda, and she'll let you know how to use some of these vegetables.